Welcome to my sixth video. So welcome to my YouTube channel Satya E World. So today we are going to see the L2 cap. L2 cap stands for Logical Link Control and Adaptation Protocol. So the previous lecture we have seen the Bluetooth architecture. So after seeing the Bluetooth protocol stack, in the Bluetooth protocol stack, we have the lowermost physical baseband layer and then logical link control. So the logical link control and adaptation protocol we are going to see today. So this is the Bluetooth protocol stack. You have the physical, that is the radio layer. Next is baseband layer. Then connecting the baseband, intermediate between baseband and logical link, which links the link manager. So link manager links the baseband layer as well as logical link control and adaptation protocol. So in today's video, we are going to learn about the logical link control and adaptation protocol in detail, how it is working. So logical link control and adaptation protocol, it is a simple data protocol on the top of the baseband. So it offers logical connections, uh, it offers logical connections between Bluetooth devices with quality of service. So this is available for the ACL alone. So ACL stands for asynchronous connection link. So for the asynchronous connection link alone, this is available. So we have three logical channels. So one is connection oriented, then connectionless, and then signaling channel. So for connection oriented, we go for unidirectional channels, that is master to slave. Next one, connectionless. So for connectionless, we go for bidirectional. So for bidirectional, we go for verifying all those quality of service parameters. So the main parameter we are going to verify is the peak data size or peak data rate, then burst size when we are transmitting the physical protocol data unit, physical burst PDU, and then latency, then jitter, right? So here in signaling channels, which is meant for exchanging informations between the L2 cap layer, exchanging information. So next we have the protocol multiplexing, which is RF, COM, and service discovery protocol and telephony control. Next is the highermost layer with respect to segmentation and reassembling. So up to 64 kbps you can use the user data, and 16-bit cyclic redundancy check will be used from the baseband. The quality of service with respect to the channel is it follows the RFC standard 1363, and which specifies the delay, jitter, burst, and bandwidth. Then group abstraction, we can either create group, close group, and you can add number or remove member. So next is your L2 cap logical connections. So before going to the L2 cap logical connections, let me explain the channel identifier, the purpose of using the channel identifier. CID stands for channel identifier. So how it will identify the channel. So the CID value, when it is 1, which is used for signaling, and the CID value, which is 2, which is reserved for connectionless channels. And when CID value, which is greater than or equal to 64, which is used to identify connection whether it is reserved or not. Okay, so the value that is from 3 to 64, it represents whether it is reserved. So D stands for data to be transmitted. And when we are using master, when the master is nothing but 1, which is used for connection oriented channel. Master is 1, which is connected oriented channel. And then 2 is nothing but it is for 2 for right slave, 1 is for master, which is for left slave, right? So this is the L2 cap logical channels. The one which will be the connection oriented channel, and D is the data, and 2 is nothing but which is for the reserved for the channel, that is for connection less channels. So here we have a master and left side one slave and right side another slave. So this dotted line stands for the signaling purpose, and this dark arrow line stands for the ACL, and dotted lines which is for the connectionless, and the dark line which is for the connection oriented. So here L2 cap provides mechanism either to add or remove the slaves. So in the security point of view, we can say that L2 cap layer which will be providing security with respect to the following pin, and the pin is nothing but personal identification number. So the personal identification number will be from the sender to the receiver. So for example, I'm having a personal data assistant with me and a mobile phone. So with respect to the mobile phone and personal data assistant, I'm going to share the information with respect to Bluetooth. So the step of sharing the information takes place. First is pairing of the devices takes place. So the when pairing will be generating 1 to 16 bytes of personal identification number. After the pairing takes place, it will go for authentication. So it will exchange the key based on authentication, possibly the permanent storage of authentication. Then the link of 128 bits will be shared for the authentication. So when it is the authenticated person, so to receive the information, E3 is the next encryption key, which is the temporary storage. This is the encryption key for permanent storage, and this is the encryption key for the temporary storage. So it will exchange the information. So key stream generator. So key stream generator, which will be generating a cipher with respect to payload key, and which will transfer the information. So this is for the security part. So this is the L2 cap packet formats. So in the L2 cap packet formats, before going to L2 cap packet formats, so we have to have a security with respect to first stage is pairing, I told you, right? So in the pairing, it will be automatically generating a fixed size. Sometimes a number will be zeros. So here we cannot establish any kind of security. So for that it will do the random number generation. So when it is doing some random key generation or random number generation, so it will be generated and it will be authenticated with respect to both the users. So this will be the security mechanism. So L2 cap packet formats. So for the L2 cap packet formats, we go for connectionless PDU, connection oriented PDU, and signal command PDU. PDU stands for protocol data unit. So length field will be 2 bytes, and CID is the channel identifier field, which is 2 bytes, and PSM field. PSM stands for protocol service multiplexing. Protocol service multiplexing. So this field holds greater than 2 bytes, and the payload is nothing but information. So for the information we have 0 to 65,533 bytes. And next is connection oriented PDU. So for connection oriented PDU, we have length of 2 bytes and a channel identifier of 2, and a payload is, we don't have PSN, we don't have protocol service multiplexing, so totally of 0 to 65,535 bytes. And signaling command PDU. In signaling command PDU, we have one or more commands in the payload type. So the whole frame will be 1 byte for code, 1 byte for identifier, 2 bytes for length, and greater than or equal to 0 bytes for data. So L stands for length of the byte. So length of the payload. So CID will be having both the when the value of CID is 1, we can say that it is either used for multiplexing or demultiplexing. And the payload in the connectionless PDU will be having one or more commands. Okay, so one or more commands. So it can able to either add command, add member or remove member based on the security. So next is service discovery protocol, which is for pairing. After pairing of devices, it will sometimes if the Bluetooth Piconet and Scatternet, it is waiting for the response. So inquiry or response, this will be done with respect to the discovering devices with respect to a protocol called service discovery protocol. Right, the service discovery protocol, which will be only for discovery purpose, not for authentication. So it does not provide any authentication. So searching for and browsing devices services in a radio proximity and adapted to the highly dynamic environment. So it uses these they have complemented, and which defines the discovery only and not for the usage of services. So next is additional protocols to support. So these are RFCOM telephony control protocol, that is for call control, which is setup and release, and for group management. Then OPEX. OPEX stands for exchange of objects. That is, we have in Bluetooth in olden days we will be sharing the mobile number of unknown person through Bluetooth. So when we are sharing, we will be sharing some calendar also. So we can exchange many objects through business cards. So the contact number of the person will be shared with respect to business cards. So WAP, this is done with respect to the interaction of applications on cellular phones. So next comes the LRWPAN, so which is low rate WPAN. The IEEE standard for low rate WPAN is IEEE 802.15. So this is the nothing but WPAN. So we have WPAN, which is nothing but which is having a similar goals with respect to Bluetooth. Similar goals with respect to Bluetooth. And we have four standards: IEEE 802.15.1, 15.2, 15.3 and 15.4. 15.1 is nothing but it explains the lower layers of Bluetooth. So what is the lower layers of Bluetooth? We can say that physical layer and data link layer. So it explains the physical layer and data link layer. Then IEEE 802.15.2, it explains the coexistence between the WPAN and WLAN. So WPAN IEEE standard is IEEE 802.15, and wireless LAN standard is IEEE 802.11. So this have access points. With respect to access points, it will have, and it will provide a frequency hopping. It will work with respect to frequency hopping pattern. So with respect to frequency hopping pattern, it will be separated. The piconets will be separated. So the piconets will be separated with respect to 79 channels. Okay. So with respect to 79 channels to separate a piconet. So IEEE 802.15.3, which provides a data rate of greater than 20 Mbps, and which is used for low cost, and which is used for imaging and multimedia applications. Imaging and multimedia applications. And next comes the IEEE 802.15.4, which is the low rate WPAN. So low rate LR, wireless personal area networks. So next comes the architecture of wireless personal area networks. In that architecture, we are going to see the physical layer first. The physical layer which contains the RF transceiver. So why this physical layer is used? This provides a basic communication capabilities of the medium. So the physical layer provides the basic communication capabilities of the medium, and based on IEEE 802.15.4 standard and its features, which is header of the TCP IP layer, and which is larger than that of the wireless sensor network. So here we have the architecture which provides the um highermost, that is it is used with respect to RF transceiver. The RF transceiver, it will be either used as a transmitter or receiver with low level control mechanisms. So go uppermost layer is the MAC layer. So the MAC sublayer which provides access to the physical channel for all type of transfer of data. So the upper layer is the network layer which is used for network configuration, manipulation and routing. So next comes under the logical link control. LLC stands for logical link control, and SSCS stands for service specific convergence sublayer. So these are the layers which are present in the IEEE 802.15.4. So the physical layer we are going to learn in detail. The physical layer which provides a physical data service and physical management service to interface the physical management entity. The features of physical layer in WPAN is that energy will be detected since the connection link indication will be there, and channel selection also we can do the physical layer, and a clear channel assessment. So it will be clear when it is free from transmission. So the data rates are 250 kbps at 2.4 gigahertz, 40 kbps at 915 megahertz, and 20 kbps at 868 megahertz. So this is the physical packet format. So the physical packet format consists of physical protocol data unit PPDU, and which is followed with respect to synchronization header, and then physical header, then physical service data unit PSPDU. So above the MAC layer you have the MAC protocol data unit MPDU, followed by the MAC header with respect to MAC service data unit MSDU, followed by MAC footer MFR. So this is the frame format of the MAC. It has the 2 bytes of frame control, 1 byte of sequence number, 0 to 20 bytes for the address, and variable size for payload, and 2 bytes for frame check sequencer. The frame check sequence helps for integrity verification of the MAC frame. So next comes the IEEE 802.15.4 MAC frame types. So the MAC frame types, we have 4 types of MAC frame types. One is beacon frame, data frame, acknowledgement frame, and MAC command frame. So in the beacon frame, we will be the devices will be synchronized with respect to the beacon enabled network, and a beacon frame is treated as a synchronization signal, and sometimes it has some extended features. So next comes the data frame. So the data frame along with the beacon frame, which is used to transfer the information sent by the higher layers. And next is the acknowledgement frame. Acknowledgement frame and MAC command frame both originate with respect to the MAC and are used for peer-to-peer communication. So the application of IEEE 802.15.4. This is used to investigate a low data rate solution, that is LR, with respect to multi-month to multi-year battery lifetime, right? And very low complexity. It is operated in unlicensed frequency band, and the potential applications are it is used as a sensors, smart badges, interactive toys, remote controls, and home automation. So these are some of the applications of the IEEE 802.15.4. So it can be also used in agriculture with respect to sensing of soil moisture, pesticides, and pH levels.